Our meeting is being streamed live on YouTube, and the meeting is also being recorded. I will now turn over to Bishop Webster for him to play the national anthem and to do the prayer for us. Thank you so much. Bishop Webster.
President.
Yes,
President Anne-Marie. All right.
Yes,
let me just go ahead and he's having some technical difficulties. Fellow Kiwanians and guests, please listen as the national anthem is being played.
It's somebody that's trying to play.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary Tamiko. I see that we have Bishop Webster.
Go right ahead.
Can you go ahead with the prayer, please?
Will do.
Thank you.
I'm here, you know. Okay.
Let us pray. Eternal Father and our God, we honor you this evening for your love, for your mercy, your goodness. And we thank you for the opportunity that you grant your people to come together, even to have this panel discussion this evening. I pray that you will take everyone who will participate in charge, let everything be done to the glory of your name. I commit all involved in this meeting tonight to your will and to your covering. In Jesus' mighty name, amen and amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, Kiwanians, friends, guests, the agenda is on your screen and we will proceed as per agenda. We'll have the objects of Kiwanis by IPP Secretary Audrey of the Kiwanis Club of the Garden Parish. IPP Audrey. IPP Audrey. Okay, Kiwanians, let us all say the objects of Kiwanis together after 2, 1, 2.
To give primacy to the human and spiritual rather than the material values of life.
To encourage
the daily living of the golden rule
in all
human relationships,
to promote the
adoption and the application
of higher
social, business, and professional standards, to develop by precept an example, a more intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship.
To provide through Kiwanis clubs
a practical means to form enduring relationships,
to render
altruistic service, and to build better communities,
to cooperate in
creating and maintaining that sound public opinion
and high idealism, which make possible the increase of righteousness, justice, patriotism, and goodwill.
Thank you, Kiwanians and guests. We'll now proceed with Assistant Secretary Tamika of the Kiwanis Club of Brownstone will do the welcome, introduction, and roll call, and I will assist where necessary.
Okay. Good evening, fellow Kiwanians and guests.
Good evening.
I just want to welcome each and every one of you to our meeting this afternoon to look at impact of sleep, diet, and exercise on your mental health. We would like to welcome Dr. Lilith Tomlinson, counseling psychologist, Ms. Sharika Morris, athletic trainer, Dr. Philbert Emil, counseling psychologist, persons who will be sitting on our panel this evening to make the presentation to us. I know that we're going to be entertained, we're going to be informed as to the impact that sleep can have on our diet, exercise, and also on our mental health. With that, I will have the roll call of clubs. Do we have any clubs from Division 23 East with us this evening? Can you hear me properly? Hello?
I can.
Can you hear me?
Well.
Okay, beautiful. Didn't get any response from Division 23 East. Do we have any club from Division 23 West with us?
Indeed, good evening. Good evening, fellow Kiwanians. This is DP Janet bringing you greetings from the Kiwanis Club of Hellshire. No, you know, we're now the Kiwanis Club of the Sunshine City, Port Worth. There are 3 of us here now. I expect 1 other to come. Looking forward to a great evening. Thank you.
Welcome and thank you for being here. Division 23 Central.
Division 23 West.
Okay.
Good evening, fellow Kiwanians and guests and the panelists. This is DP June on behalf of President Antoinette of the Kiwanis Club of Listed, the Diplomatic Corps. I bring you greetings, and I know that this will be an excellent presentation because when I look at the panelists, I know there's a lot of information to share with us, which we will be able to apply to our life. Currently, we have IPP Beverly here, DP Kevin, Director Jackie, myself, and I know President and Secretary are on their way. Have a great evening.
Thank you, and same to you. Do we have any other clubs from Division 23 West?
Yes, Division 23 West, Guysville. I'm not sure if anybody had introduced already. This is ST.
No.
Okay, this is ST Amy Rose from Guysville, and I'm sure that DP Marianne and President Millicent will be joining. I am looking forward to hearing your speaker. Sounds like it's going to be an interesting topic. So I look forward, and thanks for the invite.
Welcome, thank you too.
You're welcome.
Any other club from Division 23 West? All right, I guess we're going to move on to Division 23 Central. All right. Can we move on to Division 25?
Yes, Division 25. Can I go ahead?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm Treasurer Sonia from the Kiwanis Club of New Falmouth, and I want to bring you warm greetings on behalf of our President Norris and the entire membership. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I have a vested interest in this topic because, you know, since the pandemic, so many persons have been coming under mental stress. So it's really a pleasure, yes. And so far, there are 2 of us. DP Denzel is here. DP Denzel will introduce himself again because he has a dual membership. Look forward to a great evening. Thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. And thank you for accepting.
My pleasure.
Do we have any other club from Division 25?
Good night, fellow Kiwanians and guests. This is P.E. Craig from KC Outer Many Western. We are 3 in numbers, including DP Denzel, and we are expecting other members to join in. Looking forward to a very informative and interesting topic. Thanks for having us.
You're most welcome. Any other club from Division 25? All right. Can I move on? Did any club from Division 23 East came on after I started the roll call? All right, no. So I'm going to move on to Division 24. Do we have any members from the Kiwanis Club of Armadale? Kiwanis Club of Anota Bay? Kiwanis Club of Charlton, Alexandria? Kiwanis Club of 8 Rivers? Kiwanis Club of Discovery Bay? Kiwanis Club of Garden Parish? Can you hear me? Hello?
I'm hearing you perfectly.
Okay, okay. Kiwanis Club of Garden Parish, go ahead.
Okay, I was just waiting on President Anne-Marie to introduce us, but I am VP Al-Marie, and I know President Anne-Marie is here with us, and we also have a few others coming on. We also have a number of our members who are on with us. We have IPP Audrey, and we also have I was just checking. I didn't get to check through everybody, but we have a number that who promised to get on. So as we go along, others will join us. So we have about 3 of us in number so far right now.
Thank you very much. Kiwanis Club of St. George's Buff Bay? All right. Kiwanis Club of St. Mary? Kiwanis Club of Ocho Rios? Kiwanis Club of Monique? Kiwanis Club of St. Anne's Bay. Kiwanis Club of Port Antonio. Kiwanis Club of Port Maria. And Kiwanis Club of Brownstown. So I am Assistant Secretary Tamika Gray Rodney, and on with me tonight is President Lorenzo Rodney, Secretary Claudetta, Kiwani and Rose, and the others are on their way. With that, I would like to welcome each and every one of you. We are praying to hasten the footsteps of those persons who are not on as yet, because some persons are just getting in from work. But I know that tonight promises to be a very informative session. And I know that at the end of the session, that you will be fed. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary Tamika. Welcome to all the
Good night,
visiting.
President Henry.
Repeat.
Good night, President Henry.
Good night.
President John from Kiwanis Club of Barbados South, Division 27. There are 4 members online with you. We're looking forward to a great meeting with you as well.
Thank you so much for coming. Which country is your club
Barbados
in?
South. Kiwanis Club of
Barbados.
Barbados South.
We will visit one day.
Yeah, I do have another meeting starting shortly, so if you miss me, I'll be in a little later.
All right, we'll put your information in the chat and we'll forward the recording to you as soon as you receive it.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
So, fellow Kiwanians and guests, I'm Anne-Marie Bishop, President of the Kiwanis Club of the Gardner Parish, and also the founder of the BishopLaw Foundation. And I know that there are persons here who were invited by myself, and I'm sure others invited persons as well. We have the Bishop Webster and his team, and he's kind enough to let us use his Zoom platform. Welcome, Bishop Webster. We also have members of the United Pentecost Church, the Lord's Harvest, and their members. I have Miss Diane Young, who is from Myersville in St. Elizabeth, and she is with the Refuge Temple Ministries Church in St. Elizabeth. I'm looking through the listing to see who else is on. Let me use this opportunity to welcome our presenters. We have Dr. Philbert Emil, Dr. Lily Tomlinson, may be a bit late. We also have Miss Sharika Morris, who is our fitness instructor. So be prepared to do some exercise this afternoon, this evening. And we have Miss Lorraine Rainford. She's a coach, a nutritionist, a lifestyle coach. So we'll hear from our presenters shortly. But before we do so, am I forgetting is anybody on that then you need to introduce yourself and where you're from? We don't want to leave anybody out. Any guests on?
Hi, good evening, President Anne-Marie. I guess I missed the initial.
Yes.
I'm from the Kiwanis Club of the First City.
Yes, welcome.
Christine. Thanks for the invitation. I'm not sure if any of my other members are on just now, but I hope they will join shortly.
Yes.
So on behalf of our President Shernet, thanks for the invitation, and I look forward to a great evening with you. Thank you
so much. Thank you. Any other guests that we have overlooked, not intentionally?
Excuse me, President Anne-Marie. We are
VP
5 in number. We are 5 in number, along with some additional guests that we have invited. So we have Treasurer Georgia Dodd who had joined us, and we also have Kiwani and Tracy Ann. And so we are looking forward for others to join in as we proceed.
And it will be an informative session. And I welcome everybody who is online, and please share the information with others who are not able to join this evening. Dr. Amen and I, we discussed the whole issue of sleep in our recent presentation, and we realized that most of us perhaps lack sleep and it affects us in so many ways. So we're going to share with you a short video presentation that Bishop Webster will put on screen. I'm going to stop sharing the agenda and we can listen and see the importance of sleep. Then I'll introduce our guest panelists and then we proceed. Thank you so much. Over to you, Bishop Webster.
Possible leaders that they could be.
It's about changing a community. It's about changing the future.
Let me tell you that we never give back as much as we receive.
Los Kiwanis somos personas de acción.
The biggest misunderstanding in the public about who and what Kiwanis is that it's a bunch of old white guys hanging around, eating lunch, smoking cigars, talking about what they're going to do for the little poor kids. It's people who are young. It's people who are women. It's brown people, it's white people, it's young, beautiful women like me. That's the truth.
I love Kiwanis. I think they're cool. And more people need to be a part of Kiwanis.
When I joined Kiwanis, it was a good day.
He said, I'd like to invite you to lunch, and I'll pay.
They were getting ready to have a pancake day breakfast.
And I said, oh, these guys are okay.
Je crois que tous les jours, depuis que je suis rentrée, je me dis que ça ne pouvait pas être autrement.
And I enjoy the company, and they talk about so many interesting things.
And they did this hands-on service themselves. And I said, it's for me. And I joined right away.
El día que cambió mi vida, podríamos decir, porque es una de las partes más importantes de mi vida, estar en Kiwanis.
Thank you, Bishop Webster. That is our Kiwanis education for this evening, and it's really to remind us as Kiwanians as to why we join Kiwanis, and for the benefit of our prospects and guests who are non-Kiwanians. That is what it was a short video, but it shows you what Kiwanis is about. And we're here to serve the children of the world, one community at a time. Bishop Webster, can you proceed with the video, the exercise video, please?
$56. I'm back up. I'm back in the weight room. I'm
The answer to that is that we know the most about aerobic exercise. It is exercise that increases your heart rate. We know the most about the positive effects of that. There's a little bit of evidence that strength training can also be positive, but there's not as much evidence there. How much do you have to do? It's somewhere between walking, which I should say walking alone will improve your mood as well, and you don't have to become a triathlete. It's going to be something like 3 times to 4 times a week, getting your aerobic activity up. But I will qualify that by saying that it really depends where you start from. It's not like if you have no activity at all that you suddenly have to increase to 3 times a week immediately to get those effects. Or if you already have a good exercise routine, you might have to increase that even more to get the maximum benefits. The other key question, what time of day is critical? Early morning, first thing in the morning exercise is beneficial because it is increasing all those neurotransmitters, all those growth factors at a time right before you need to use your brain to learn and remember. So contrast that with end of the day exercise. You can still benefit from that, but you're not required to use your brain, most of us, after we go home after a workout. So my recommendation is always to maximize the effects of exercise for your daily cognitive functions. Do it first thing in the morning.
Thank you so much, Bishop Webster. I will introduce our panelists. We have 4 panelists slated for this event. Dr. Philbert Emil, Dr. Lily Tomlinson, Miss Lorraine Rainford, and our exercise expert, Miss Sharika Morris. Dr. Emil is a pastor. He lectures at the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology. He's also a counseling psychologist and a business person. Dr. Lily Tomlinson, she's a counseling psychologist. She's also a pastor, and she's also the vice principal at the University College of the Commonwealth Caribbean. Miss Lorraine Rainford is a past student of my daughter's current school, Immaculate Conception High School. Big up to all Immaculate persons and the parents who are online. Yes, Immaculate. She holds a degree from CariMed, UWI in Media and Communication. She's a health and wellness coach. She distributes wellness products, and she's an integrative nutritionist as well. But each panelist will share more about themselves. My good friend, Sharika Morris, she's a fitness expert. She do personalized training, and she do small group training. Welcome, ladies, and welcome, Dr. Emil. We know the we know that sleep, diet, and exercise can affect how we function on a daily basis. We either become cranky or become lazy, you're just down, we don't have any energy. And our panelists are here to convince us to change the way we're taking care of ourselves currently, or to improve on things that we can improve on. And as we close out 2022 and look forward to 2023, I know sometimes we make a lot of unrealistic resolutions to start the year, but you don't need to wait until January the 1st. You can make the lifestyle changes immediately, starting in the morning. I won't bother you for the night. You can actually start in the morning. Don't be like me where I exercise in my mind, but I take long to actually do the exercise. I'm not a fit person. I'm always on the go. And Miss Morris will share with us some exercise that we can do for busy professional persons. Because that's our excuse, right, ladies and gents? We say we're always busy, we don't have the time, but our health is our wealth. And as soon as we take that into consideration and act, not just talk, act, we'll function better. So over to the panelists, Dr. Philbert Emil, and then we'll move for opening remarks to Miss Lorraine, and then Miss Morris. Dr. Lilith is not here yet. She is driving, but she will try to join. Go ahead, Dr. Emil.
Good night, everyone. Good to be here. Tonight, we will have the discussion on sleep, exercise, and that sleep is a critical part of human development. It is something that God designed for us and for our body to really recreate itself in a way that we can become productive the next day. When we don't get enough sleep, it impacts every aspect of our function, cognitively, emotionally, behaviorally. It impacts us and it reduces our ability to perform on the job the next day. just a statistics for men, when you are sleep deprived, for a long period of time, your testosterone level is 10 times your age. When you maintain a good sleeping habit, your testosterone level is 10 times below your age. So it is important for us to maintain a good sleeping habit. There are some critical things that can prevent us from sleep, but as we go further into the discussion, then we will look at those. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, having to move from one place to another, you know how moving can be, right? And so I have been guilty of subsisting on very little sleep over long periods of time. It makes you cranky. It makes you not look as good. If you're old, you look older. If you're not too old, you still look older. So lack of sleep is not a good idea, not to mention the impact it has on your choices of food. So lack of sleep can actually lead to you having a higher BMI, having greater weight around your waist, having greater weight generally, not being able to control your cravings for sweet and fat. Because lack of sleep can affect certain hormones that actually affect or dictate those things. So as we go on, we'll talk a little bit more about how much, and it's kind of like a chicken and egg scenario. So there's a bit of it that we wonder, you know, is it lack of sleep that causes the choices in food, or is it the choices of food that then cause a lack of sleep? You know, they're interchangeable. They affect each other. But we'll talk a little bit more as we go on. Thank you.
Miss Sharika Morris, are you okay? Your opening remarks, please, Miss Morris.
Sorry, I just reconnected. So I may have missed out some of the things that you've said. Can you do me the honor of repeating, please? I had to.
Would like your opening remarks, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. The Kiwanis Club, I'm seeing different persons from different regions, all busy professionals. It's a pleasure to be able to speak to you all this evening and to share some of my views on exercise and the benefits that it can have on your sleep and how it can also improve your mental health and overall wellness. I know that as you listen tonight, that you will find the information useful. I hope that you will not just listen, but you'll also put into practice some of the things that I've shared, and your life will be better for it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start off the discussion with Dr. Should we start with Dr. Emil? Dr. Emil, you're ready to proceed?
Well, you can start with just about any one of us. I think all of us are ready to have the discussion. So you can start with just about anything. It's all up to you.
Well, I'm going to have to run for a meeting at 8. So
yes. So let me put this question to the panelists. What is the relationship between sleep and our mental health?
All right. So as Dr. Emil said earlier, he's going to be better able to say this, but to talk about this section. But we know already, you mentioned this earlier, Anne-Marie, about getting cranky. And it's so very, very true. When you lack sleep, your ability to cope is just much less. I don't know if any of us have recognized that. We may not have a link to them, but definitely your ability to cope is much less. You get more anxious just because you are you're just so much more wired, meaning there are times when you have a lack of sleep. And then sometimes when we lack sleep, then we drink some of the wrong things, like we drink coffee or something like that to keep us awake. And that kind of gives us that jittery feeling. So it can cause anxiety. And as Dr. Emil will talk some more about that, I'm sure we can hear some more about how it affects you. But then when you make the wrong choices with your food, that also contributes to that feeling. I think that one of the things that food can most affect is like depression and anxiety. I find that food affects those things most. Yes, the crankiness. Yes, DP Janet. Food affects those things most. But in general, once you have any kind of situation where your body's not functioning well, then you want to make good choices with your food, period, because you just need more nutrient-dense food to support your body. You know, your body is fueled by food, not just by its nice taste, but all the nutrients that are in it. So always, 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 you want to be looking at your nutrition, no matter what's going on with you.
Dr. Emil, would you like to add to what Miss Lorraine shared?
Yes. When you talk about mental health, you're talking about a state of emotional balance and well-being, not just of yourself, but your ability to manage the stress of those around you. And so your own emotional capability is critical here. Now, when you do not get enough sleep, what happens is that your information level builds up. Your memory is impacted. Your ability to concentrate is impacted. Your ability to focus. And Madam Lorraine spoke about depression and anxiety. Now, I want us to understand, just in a simple way, depression is really a slack connection in your frontal lobe, right? And a tight connection in your default mode network. Now, what does that mean? It means then that when you sleep, your body now gets the opportunity to regulate your neurotransmitters, what we call the hormone, the serotonin, all of that. It regulates those and bring it back to a normal level so that you are functionally competent. So sleep, if you do not sleep, you're going to become more agitated because your body is designed to clean itself up overnight and to prepare it for whatever activity you have the next day. So all of what you learn today is hardwired overnight. And research shows that between 2 and 4 is a time when most robbery occurs. And during that time is when your body actually cleans the brain. So all the inflammation, everything is clean from your system and filtered in a way that the brain is designed to do that and leave you up and running for the next day. So there's a direct connection between sleep and good mental health. You must sleep. You have 4 different stages of sleep. You have a stage of sleep that forms like about less than 7% of your total sleep. That's the first stage. The second stage forms somewhere between 15 and 25%. You know, like when you sit on your couch and you start to sleep, you just doze off. That is like the first stage of sleep. And the third one is the most significant one because it forms like about 40% of your sleep. Your parents always say, you're dead to the world. It's a third stage of sleep. And then you go into REM sleep. A critical thing to note if you are sleeping good is to ensure that you're dreaming. If you are not dreaming, you might not be getting the best sleep. Yeah, if you're not dreaming, you might not be getting the best sleep. You could be sleeping also, but you're not resting because you have a lot of trauma happening in the brain. You are depressed, you are sad, you are lonely. A lot of things could be happening. If you are not eating right, a lot of persons think that, oh, it is good to go out late at night and eat spicy food. Spicy food is not good for you late in the evening, right? Neither is coffee or soda and all of that. They are not good for you. Let me tell you why. There's something in spicy food that is called thermogenesis, right? It is an eating capacity of the body that warms your body late at night or when the time is cool and all of that. That is found in spicy food as well. Now, once you get that out of your spicy food, then your body, so when your body should be cooling down, your body is eating up. So I always tell people don't eat spicy food after 12 because when your body should be cooling down, your body is eating up because your body brings down the temperature in order for you to fall asleep. But the chili pepper, the spicy food is turning it up. Good? So that is something that you wouldn't want to do. Now, your organ produces something that is called adenosine. Now, when you drink the caffeine mimics the adenosine receptors and block your sleep. So what happens is that your adrenaline glands produces adrenaline and your body like it starts to light up now because the fight and flight hormone chips in and your body wants to stay awake. So coffee, alcohol, all of that, they carry out that mimicking act. And so it is difficult for you to fall asleep. As we go on, I probably could give you a little bit more information as to the whole aspect of how your body regulate, eat from the proximal skin to the distal skin in order for you to fall asleep, to create a balance in your circadian rhythm. When we talk about circadian rhythm, you would know the street lights, they come on light and dark. That's how your body, that's how your circadian rhythm works, light and dark. And so as we go on up, we probably will give you some sleeping techniques, tell you how to build good sleeping habits and all of that. But that's a mouthful for now.
Thank you, Dr. Emil, but I'm not prepared to give up my coffee or my red wine or my spicy food at the moment. But let me see if you can convince me more as the meeting progressed. But I felt so down when you said the coffee, the wine, the spicy food. I'm saying, like, seriously. But you know, I'm here to learn. So if we have to give up stuff for our health and to be healthier, I will consider it seriously. Ms. Sharika, you want to add to the discussion at this time?
No, nothing to add at this time.
Okay, I'm going to recognize DP June's hand up before we continue our discussion. Go ahead, DP June. Okay, perhaps she's not hearing me or she has
Yes,
stepped
I'm
away.
hearing it. That's an error.
Very well. Go ahead, please.
That's an error. Sorry, baby.
No problem. Our next question: how does sleep? What effect does sleep have on our physical health? Lack of sleep.
Lack of sleep. It allows you to feel lethargic because there's something that we call latent paralysis. So when you wake up in the morning, your hands feel heavy, your foot feel heavy because your sleep cycle is not healthy. So you went to bed with a lot on your mind. You went to bed with so much things spiraling around in your mind, so much, we call them automatic negative thought. They're just wandering around in your mind and they're taking control of your thoughts. You can't sleep. You wake up in the night, you go to bed at 9 o'clock, you wake up 11 o'clock and you can't sleep again. All of that is spiraling around in your mind. Now, when you wake up the next morning, you're cranky, you're groggy. You just don't have that energy because your body has not recuperated from the previous day's onslaught. So once you don't get enough sleep, then you're going to lose appetite, you're going to lose energy, you're going to lose focus, you're going to lose almost everything. Because remember, you know, if you have a vehicle and you don't service it, what is going to happen? It can't perform. So when we don't get enough sleep, we don't give our body the best opportunity for servicing. And exercise is a critical component, if I may here. Exercise and diet, they are two critical components of sleep. Now, when you exercise, you engage cognition. When you exercise, you engage two critical aspects, or a critical aspect of the brain that does something fundamental. Because when you exercise, you enlarge your hippocampus. Your hippocampus, everybody should be craving for a larger hippocampus, this section of your head, right? Because what it does is that it creates new cell and it heals, it repairs the old and dying cell. So you function better. Your sleep quality now becomes better. You see the relationship between exercise and sleep? When you diet, it makes it better because the fruits and the vegetable, now that's a critical component to your sleep health. Your brain need a certain amount of fructose, and sucrose, the best form is from fruits and vegetable. Madam Lauren, you are the expert on that, but it is critical to note that if your diet is off, then it will impact sleep negatively. And if sleep is off, it impacts or impairs how your body processes that diet.
Absolutely. One of the things that happens as we lack sleep is that it affects some of our, our production of hormones that control appetite. And so you can end up feeling hungrier during the day because we have two very important hormones that control our body's energy. It controls hunger and they regulate fat storage. So when it is that we don't get enough sleep, we tend to have more of the hormone that boosts the appetite and boosts fat production. So if it is that we're not getting enough sleep, then we tend to find that we may be more hungry the next day. And then usually more hungry like that, we just grab and we just grab whatever we can find. We also tend to have more cravings when we don't get enough sleep. So that same hunger or hormone causes us to have those cravings that make us want the things that are high in fat and high in sugar, right? And as Dr. Emil said, you feel lethargic and you have fatigue in the day. So if you're tired, who is going to exercise when you're tired? No exercising is going to happen. So here it is. So I want you to picture you eating the food that are high in fat, the food that are high in sugar, and you're tired and you're not exercising. What is that going to mean? It's more than likely going to mean that you're going to start probably gaining some weight. And then there are some of us who we don't show the weight on the outside, but it's all up in the inside of us. And then something happens. I remember one lady said to me, she had a mini stroke and she said, but I'm not fat. But she eats all the wrong foods. And so when she does the checks, all of the insides of her, they have those things around it, those fat around those major organs, right? So you want to just be really clear that is one of the ways that lack of sleep affects your health. And then for us ladies, men too, but for us ladies who like to look a certain way, I remember some time ago being told that when night dew catch you, I don't want it, but whatever this is, you don't look as young. As I began to learn a little bit more, I recognize that in the night is when your body, as Dr. Emil says, basically regenerates itself, including your skin cells. So those new skin cells that come out at night that need moisture and those things, if we don't get enough sleep, then they don't happen. So we end up looking more tired and haggard and so on, because our body cannot regenerate its skin so that it can look nice and breasted and have that and have those new skin cells coming out the way they should. So and lack of sleep also can affect even your insulin levels and how and you know, your insulin levels is your sugar. So if your blood sugar levels are high and if that's off, it's going to affect your body's ability to burn fat, and you know, diabetes then could just be somewhere in your distant future. So sleep is really key in all of these things.
Thank you, Lorraine. Go ahead, Sharika.
Yes, just to add to what everyone has been saying, sleep is very important in really helping us to fight off infections. And physically, there are a lot of things that we tend to go through. And so the body does need that regeneration process to take place, as Ms. Rainford was saying. So sleep is very important to fight off infections. Right now, there's a time where a lot of things are going around. Our bodies are more getting sick at this time. A lot of persons are complaining about having different flus, different kind of symptoms, and the thing to combat that, or help to combat that, is having adequate rest, adequate sleep. And there can be another thing, we need to actually be resting when we're sleeping, because sometimes we're actually sleeping and the body is not resting. So in addition to that, we need to do things that allow us to rest. So sometimes for some of us, sleep is not adequate enough to cause our body to rest. Finally, of course, Ms. Rainford touched on it. We could look at the regeneration, repair of the muscles. Sleep helps with that, because it's when you're resting, all of those things are taking place. So without that, the body doesn't get to use up adequately and process the different nutrients that comes inside of it. So if we don't sleep and if we don't get that adequate rest, then we're not able to use those well. So that's what I have to add.
Yes, and as you said that, I remember there's a thing now. It's called sleep apnea, and sleep apnea has you sleeping but not getting enough oxygen, and that can over time lead to sudden cardiac events. So because the body's just not getting enough oxygen, and very often what causes that is usually when you have gained weight, and sometimes when the neck's gotten a little bit thicker. So when we go to sleep, we're not breathing as well as we should breathe. And so that can also, you see that's like a catch-22. So you're not sleeping well, you're putting on weight, you put on weight, it affects the sleep. You know, it's kind of just like a cycle. So we really want to make sure that we're getting enough sleep for definite sure.
Miss Lorraine, what is it called? Sleep what?
Sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a question in the chat from Vice President Almarie. One moment, Dr. Emil. How much sleep is enough?
7 to 9 hours of sleep should be good enough for any one of us. 7 to 9 hours sleep should be good for any one of us. There's each component to it, but 7 to 9 hours should be good for any one of us.
So my 3 to 5 hours is totally inadequate.
I can tell you sometimes we get 3 hours of sleep and it is sufficient because you actually rest. But there are times when 3 hours will not be enough because of your mental condition and the amount of things that you have on your mind. Sometimes even if you get 10 hours, it's still not enough because you're not resting, right? So it's about how you manage the stress and the stresses of life and how you manage your environment. That is good. But just to piggyback a bit on something that Madam Rainford said, the whole thing about the thought slipped me. The
sleep apnea.
No, not the sleep apnea. The ghrelin, that hunger hormone, the ghrelin, and how it is instructed by your microbiome. So your microbiome is your gut health, like your gut brain. You know, it is the same size as the brain up top, and it is instructed by the vagus nerve. That is the nerve that runs from your brain to your gut. Now, when you do not eat well, then your microbiome becomes unhealthy. And so the ghrelin hormone that is produced is the ghrelin hormone that masks. What it does is that it creates a negative impact on your eating cycle. So when you're actually empty, you still feel full. And there's always a craving for unhealthy things like sugary foods and all of that, because it is because you're not eating right. So there's a direct correlation between these things.
Absolutely.
Lorraine, you said something that basically sleep helps us to look fresher in the morning. And for us as women, that's important. And I guess for men too, because sometimes we see the bags under the eyes, you know, our face look really off. And there's only so much makeup that we can apply to not look fake. So that statement that you made encourages me to try and get a little bit, maybe another half an hour more in terms of sleep. But what does lack of sleep impact our social? No, sorry. Are there any social benefits of sleeping in terms of getting the right amount of sleep?
Whose question is that? Mine or the others? Because I'm more than ready to answer.
Anybody, really. It's for anybody.
Go ahead, Dr. Emil. That sounds like you.
Are there any social benefits of
yes,
getting enough sleep?
Sleep impacts your mood directly. You cannot socialize in a healthy way if your mood is off. So if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, as we always say, you're going to snap a lot. You see, you're going to be gog.
We seem to have lost Dr. Emil.
Appearance is not going to be visible, but you have lost me. So I'm saying it impacts your mood, your facial expression, because as Ms. Morris said, your muscle and your muscle development and all of that is going to be your energy level, you know, all of that is going to be impacted by sleep. Now, if the sleep is not there, you're gonna be gaggy, your face are gonna be sour, you're gonna snap a lot. All of that is going to happen. And once that starts to happen, people are going to be withdrawn because you're defensive. Your conversation pieces will not fall in place because you did not get enough sleep, and it impacts a whole lot of area in your brain that control. Let us focus on some critical areas in the brain, like the Broca area, the varicula, right? The angular gyrus. This is your speech area. When you don't rest, these areas, you ever hear some people then wake up and you're then, and your speech just off? You're talking, but you're talking in dine-up, you're talking in Chinese language. It is just not there because you did not rest well.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if you have children, let's not, you know, you'd have to go social yet. If you have young children and you don't get enough rest, those children are going to get barked at and picked at, and you won't process dealing with things fairly with them just because you are tired, you lack sleep, your judgment is off, it's impaired. If you have a relationship, you're married or otherwise, it will affect that. You're not getting enough sleep, sex is not going to be that great either. You're not going to be interested because you're tired. You know, it's going to affect much more than just your social. There's your family. I have a friend who was always tired, and she would beat her children to go to sleep in the middle of the day so she could get to lie down and sleep. Right? And they were little children, but she beat them so she could get to sleep because she can't go to sleep and leave them awake. You understand that? So the lack of sleep will affect you socially, yes, but it will definitely affect even your relationships at home.
Thank you, Lorraine. I recognize the hand of DP Eileen.
Hi, good night, everyone.
Good night.
It's not a question, it's just a statement. For the past 20 years or more, something traumatic happened to me. I used to sleep at a drop in a hat, spend the whole day, sleep, sleep, sleep. But since that incident, I have not slept well. I was diagnosed with chronic sleep apnea. And so I was monitored every 6 months. I went and do my checks. I have to do heart checks. I have to do all the checks to make sure that I'm okay, because I can go days without sleeping, days. But it has gotten worse since last year, the death of my son. It has gotten worse, right? But I am listening, and I think possibly I should listen some more to see how it affects me, because all of what our doctors are talking about, and Miss Morris and Miss Rainford, I am on the opposite spectrum of what they are speaking about. Because I'm healthy, I don't have those cravings. My snacks is fruits, vegetable, carrots, parsley. That's what I snack on. I don't have sugar cravings. And I am listening and I am saying, but I am trying to identify with not sleeping, with what they are talking about. And I am not identifying with nothing at all. My marriage life is exceptional. My husband can attest to that. I do walk a lot though. I do walk a lot. I will just put on my clothes, get up and say I'm going walking. But apart from that, I just can't sleep. I will go to sleep like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then 10 o'clock I am up again. 10, 11 o'clock I am up. And sometimes I don't sleep that deep sleep. I just doze. So I am wondering if something is really wrong, really, really wrong, that I am not identifying with what is being discussed. So please enlighten me. Thank you.
So DP Eileen, the discussion is general, and I guess you would have to have one-on-one discussion with somebody like Lorraine Rainford, who is a nutritionist, an integrative coach, or speak to a counseling psychologist on a one-on-one level in order to help you to see what's going on in your space. But the discussion is general, and it may apply to each of us in a different way to some degree.
Yes, I know it's general, but I am here listening and laughing. I said, but I am not experiencing any of those things, to be honest.
And you said something, DP Eileen. You mentioned the way you eat, and you mentioned that you exercise. And so it's great that you do that. And as I said earlier, your sleep can affect your nutrition, and your nutrition can affect your sleep. And so it's not, sometimes it's like what comes first, that chicken or egg story. So if you are avoiding certain kinds of foods, if you're eating certain kind of foods, and if you're exercising, then you may be experiencing a quality of life different from what someone who is not eating well, who's not exercising, and who is not sleeping will experience, right? So I mean, I guess for every situation, there's always going to be someone who is an exception to the rule. However, you have at least two of those things going on. You exercise and you sound like you make good choices with your food. And I mean, we can't really cover every single aspect of things on a call like this, but eating certain foods are precursors as well to to ensuring certain kind of those neurotransmitters that Dr. Emil talks about. Eating certain kind of foods can ensure that the body is making enough of those to mitigate against other things. And we don't want to look past the fact that the body is really made to heal itself and to fix itself. So if it is, and if you're feeding it well, it increases that likelihood. So I don't know if it's that you're perfect or what, because you're not sleeping well, but you certainly have certain things happening in your diet. So one of the things that I have to talk about is the fact that eating lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of dark green leafy vegetables, good quality fat, fish and fatty fish, and those things are all going to help the body to produce certain kinds of neurotransmitters that will help you to rest and to do the things the body should do. And if you're exercising, as Dr. Emil talked about it, certain things will happen to the brain as you do that. So you do have, if we were to segment, if you needed 3 out of 3 things, sleep, good diet, and exercise to have a balanced, wholesome life, then you have at least 2 of them going on. So I would still say that there's something that you're doing that would affect the quality of your life. Sleep is one thing that affects the quality of your life. Nutrition is another, and exercise is another, and they interact and affect each other. But you at least have 2 of those 3 going on. So you are a little bit better off than if you were not eating well and if you weren't exercising at all. Well, that's my thought. Dr. Emil, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Just to add a little bit more to it is that different people process different reality differently. In order to speak to her specific situation, that would be like a one-on-one. However, the reality about it is that there's something that is called cumulative stress. So you probably not sleeping, and over a number of years, it could be that everything seemed normal and you're okay, but something just happened suddenly out of the normal, and here we go, you find yourself going down a slippery slope. So I will agree with you that she has 2 things going well, and by virtue of that, having those 2 things going well, then that is a plus for her. But I wouldn't think that everything is okay, and nothing that we are saying is relative to her reality, because it could be once you have been traumatized and it has not been properly filtered, then something is there submerged, and over a period of time you could have some difficulties.
Thank you, Dr. Emil. Panelists, how important is sleep to our job performance?
It is extremely important, if I may start about the ball. It is extremely important because the information that you need to perform or to produce results on a day-to-day basis is stored in your declarative memory. And so by virtue of that, you need to ensure that you get enough rest. If you don't get enough rest, then your memory and your memory recall structure, which is critical, your memory recall is going to affect how you perform, because how you'd want to recall the information in order to produce the result that you need to produce on the job is going to be critical. Your ability to reason out things is going to be impaired. And as Madam Rainford said earlier, your judgment is going to be off. Your concentration is going to be off. Your focus is going to be off. Another thing is that you are going to go in and out of sleep regularly, which is also going to affect your memory. Now, once you're not concentrating well, then there's something in your brain, there's a region of your brain that we refer to as the default mode network. This is like all of us, we are on Zoom now. This is like a group chat. when you're having, when the default mode network chips in, it's like the brain, the lower regions of the brain is having a group chat. You see your mind wandering, what you call daydream, that is going to be super activated because of the absence of sleep. So you're unable to manage your thoughts and your emotion to any great degree, because sleep is what manages those aspects of your brain, those regions of your brain. Sleep is what creates that balance so that those regions of your brain can function effectively.
Thank you, Dr. Emil. So when we become forgetful and we might jokingly say, I'm suffering from Alzheimer's, it's not that. We really just need to improve our sleep, our sleep cycle, and change our diet, look at our diet, and consider putting more exercise in.
And as you said that, Madam Bishop, just to go back to something that the lady said earlier about sleep apnea, right? Now, the fact that the trauma has been there for a long period of time, because for sleep apnea, what you need to do is to do some neck exercises to reduce the fat level in your neck around your throat area, as Madam Rainford said earlier. You need to do some neck exercises to reduce that. You need to reduce the amount of time you spend sleeping on your back and start to sleep on your side. Right side, I think, from memory, is the most preferred side, your right side. So you need to change your sleeping pattern. But remember also that sleep apnea have a direct relationship with trauma. So DSP, remember that sleep apnea have a relationship with trauma.
Thank you, Dr. Emil. Sharika, any additions?
Well, yes, of course, everything that my colleagues have said is accurate. Of course, if, for example, you're a doctor, can you imagine going into work and you have to perform a surgery? You know, you're not able to actually perform properly, you end up, you know, killing someone, you know, or if you're a dancer and you need to focus on certain strokes, there's a particular move that you need to make, you're not able to execute well. So there are different job functionality, and each of them requires coordination, it requires balance, it requires all the cognitive functions taking place, and sleep affects that. So if the muscles are not rested, then they're not able to execute the task properly. So I think sleep is definitely important to the different job functions. If you're an accountant and you have to add certain figures together, can you imagine putting together something and the balance is off? You know, whatever job you have, you might lose your job. So it's very important that we do get enough rest, because it affects everything. It affects you physically, it affects you mentally, it affects you emotionally, it affects you socially. And so all of these things will affect your job. So you're not able to do your job well at the end of the day. And so you may not be able to keep a job. So sleep is critical to helping somebody perform well on the job.
Thank you, Sharika. What are some of the causes of our poor sleeping habits? What factors contribute to poor sleep?
He was trying to give me some time to rest properly, because he knows that I have to spend the whole night.
Dr. Emil or Lorraine, what are some of the factors that contribute to us having poor sleeping habits?
Okay, let me go really quick, Dr. Emil, because I have to go very shortly. I'm going to take it from the aspect of the food. Certainly, and I mean, Sharika, definitely lack of exercise does not help. But the way we manage our stress, as Dr. Emil has been implying and suggesting since he started speaking, and some of the choices that we make with food. So they talk about the caffeine at certain times of the night or certain times of the day. eating certain kinds of food before we go to bed, the spicy foods and those kinds of things. Those are going to affect your sleep. As DP Eileen said, traumatic activity in your life can affect your sleep. You know, just the bodies, sometimes some bodies just don't produce enough of the neurotransmitters for whatever reason. Sometimes it may be something that you're born with. My mother-in-law actually is, when she's having an episode, she is paranoid schizophrenic. And when she's having an episode, she doesn't sleep at night. She doesn't sleep, she's up, right? She has to get something to control those things to make her sleep. And so, and that seems to be an imbalance. She just has to be on medication for that. So there are many things that can affect your ability to sleep, just going through stressful periods, not making good decisions with your food, not being physically active, so you're not tired enough, you know. There are all kinds of things that can affect our inability to sleep, all kinds of things. So, but certainly in my line, so, you know, having too much of certain kinds of food, lots of processed foods can affect, as Dr. Emil talked about, our microbiome and the fact that it instructs ghrelin. When our gut microbiome is off, it's like our second brain, that can affect our inability to sleep. Acid reflux and those kind of things, because you've been missing meals or because you're not getting enough fiber in your meals, not enough fruits and vegetables, that can cause the microbiome to be off. And you can have these episodes at night where you wake up with your heart pounding and you're feeling, you know, you have these panic attacks that sometimes are directly related to the fact that your microbiome is off. You know, we need to keep that balance of, we have more bacteria in our body than we have cells, right? And so keeping that balance of bacteria, good and bad, is so important. So the good, so bacteria eat and they multiply. Good bacteria, they eat fruit, they eat proper food, they eat fiber and those nutrients, and they multiply. Bad bacteria eat a lot of processed food and they multiply. So whichever one you feed, that's one that's going to multiply. Now, you can't get rid of the bad bacteria, but you can certainly reduce its impact on your body by ensuring that you make better choices, more leafy green vegetables. For us in the Caribbean and Jamaica, you know, eating our foods that grow from the earth, you know, keep, you know, ease off a little bit of the white bread and those kinds of things. And all sugar sweetened beverages and food for the most part are sweetened with white sugar. It throws off some of the mineral content of the body, which can also affect your sleep as well. I mean, we just really want to make good choices, more dark green leafies, more fruits and vegetables, more yam and dasheen and so on, you know, more of those kinds of foods. You know, having, like, I want to just quickly give you an idea of maybe like a meal, trying to get our, omega-3 fats are very, very important to the brain. And so you want to get those foods in. You can get them in our linseed or flaxseed. We get them in walnuts. We'll get some good oleic oils from avocado, and for olive oil sometimes a little pricey, but you know, we can get those kinds of foods, eating more fish than red meat, you know, eating more fish than eggs and poultry, and getting our non-starchy vegetables or callaloo or pumpkin, carrots, bell peppers, you know, those kinds of things. Eating the food that we know, we know the foods that are good for us, right? Oily fish like tuna and mackerel and sardine, you know, getting an omega-3 supplement. If you have not been having omega-3s all your life, you haven't been having food that are rich in omega-3s, believe me, you need a supplement because your body does not function well without that particular oil. So it's really important. So we can do things like, you know, you think about a meal, you know, think of half of your plate being non-starchy vegetables like bok choy or pak choy, and a little bit of cabbage here if you can manage it, and some carrots and so on, some raw vegetables, and then some curried kingfish or whatever fish you like on the side, with a piece, you know, just a piece or two of a dasheen or a cassava or a bami or a small bami or half a bami or something like that. You know, having those kinds of foods, and a piece of avocado for healthy fat, you know, if you can, whenever we can find it. You know, nuts and seeds, we can also add to our salads. to give us those healthy fats. So you want to be making good choices with your food. Have some more peas and beans along with your meat, and not just meat. When you are having meat, a little bit of dark chocolate sometimes, a little bit, not a whole lot, right? So making those choices with your food will help. They're not the be all and end all, right? You still have to find ways of managing your stress, and exercise is key, right? And for those of us who are Christians, our spiritual practice is very, very important to that process. The Bible talks about the fact that the Lord gives his beloved rest, So, and he's one that designed this whole idea of resting in the first place. So there is our own spiritual practice and spending time in that way, meditating on the word of God and so on. That's also going to impact our sleep and impact our mental, abilities and capacities. So I know I kind of just crammed all of that in there.
We hear you,
absolutely
Lorraine,
run.
because you dealt with it very well, because the next question would have been how to improve healthy sleeping habits, and you have given us some hints in terms of our food choices and the fact that we need to increase our exercise, and I know Sharika will speak more on that. So you have set us on the right path. There is a question in the chat for you. Is olive oil preferable to coconut oil? DLG Christine asked that question.
Boy, it's been hard for me. It's been really tough for me, but I have to say yes, it absolutely is. If we're going to do the coconut oil, then we want to get it cold pressed. So that's the difference. You have cold pressed coconut oil, and you have the one that we buy that's, it's heat is applied. So cold pressed coconut oil.
The cold pressed one, it's easier to get it in the rural areas. Like when you go to Portland, you see them having it on the roadside, St. Mary.
And then, well, there's that. And then you don't want to cook it. You don't want to cook it. You want to just probably mix up a little bit in something that you cook already, not too much. Fat has a lot of calories. So if you're going to have coconut oil, the cold pressed one, uncooked, is not heated, is what is going to be of some benefit. But once you begin to cook it, boy, it's hard for me, but it really looked like it's not such a wonderful thing for us having our diets, especially when cooked. And generally, there are ways. Let me give you a little quick tip before I run. I have to run, Lord Jesus. When I'm cooking callaloo, one of the things that we do a lot, we use a lot of oil when cooking food. So I use, because I'm watching the coconut oil, then I use some coconut milk. You juice your coconut or so, and you season that up with your scallion and your salt and so on. And you put your callaloo in that and let your callaloo cook down in that. When you finish, if you want, and you turn off the stove, you can pour a little bit of coconut oil on that, or a little bit of olive oil on it. You don't have to cook it with the oil. There are ways that you can cook meat and so on without adding oil and accessing the oils that are already there. And it makes the food much yummier. It makes the meat much more tender. So, you can get my number from Anne-Marie, but one of the things I really like to do is to be able to help persons to eat the food that they regularly eat by changing the way they prepare it. So it's a little healthier and still just as tasty. You don't compromise on taste, right? So
that sorry, go ahead, Lorraine.
No, I'm basically done. So I'm just saying that, there are ways that we can prepare our foods to still be healthy. But olive oil, yes, it's better. And even then, still, you want to avoid heating the oil. If you can at all not heat it, and if you're going to, you heat it putting all of your seasoning and your oil together. Your garlic, your scallion, if you're doing tomatoes, you put all of that in, add the oil in, have it cold, everything cold, and then you cook it low heat, right? So that it slowly, because as the oil heats, it breaks down and actually changes composition and affects your body totally differently than if it's not cooked. But I must run.
But we appreciate your contribution, Lorraine, and some of the excuses that we use is that it's expensive to eat healthy, and it doesn't have to be, and you have just shared some tips with us. It's not the raw, it's how you use the raw material that you have. So there are different ways to cook chicken, but we need to choose the healthier way. Thank you so much. And we will be in touch. Your number is in the chat. Thanks for coming. I know you have to leave.
I must. Bless you all.
Okay, thank you. We'll now proceed with Sharika. Are you ready to get us our heartbeat up? We're ready to exercise. Sharika is going to demonstrate some exercise techniques for busy persons like myself, and I'm simply just probably lazy if I really speaking the truth. But you know, I'm ready to stand up and to be led by you. Kiwanians and guests, are you ready to see some exercise techniques from our fitness guru, Sharika?
Anne-Marie, why are you causing the persons to be afraid? I'm sure many persons are not home today. I know some persons are traveling, you know, so stop allowing them to be afraid, guys. We're not necessarily going to be doing a workout, but I'm going to be showing you a few things you can do if you are busy. So let's, first of all, I know that there are different times that persons may choose to work out. Some of you, you're night owls, so you might be working out at night or in the evenings, maybe an hour or two before bed. Preferably, try to exercise at least 3 hours before you sleep if you are a person who exercises at night. But if you're a person who wakes up in the morning early, as the first thing, get out of the way, then definitely try to get in that morning exercise. Mornings are good. I wouldn't say there's a limit to it because you're starting your day, you're getting yourself up and ready. So I'm going to be demonstrating 2 exercises that you can do. You can use if you have your weights. So I have here with me 2 dumbbells. They are 5 pounds. Quite light, quite easy to use. You know, if you don't have any weights, you have your good old water bottle. You can get a nice water bottle. You know, what size is that small one again? Somebody can help me. Somebody who knows the size of that small water bottle. You can have your 2 water bottles as a dumbbell, or you can use even 2 cans from your cupboard. So make what you're doing handy. So you might get out of bed, go in the kitchen, you take out your 2 cans, you hold them in your hand, maybe have them up here, and you just lift up your leg, you do some nice twist, work it out, moving one leg, moving the other leg, holding it for maybe 5 to 10 seconds if you can. If not, you can put on a timer on your phone, 20 seconds timer. Have that dumbbell or have those cans in your hand. You're lifting your leg up, you're putting it back down if you can't. Do that with in your hands, can hold on to your waist and just lift the leg up, turn it out. If that's even too difficult and you have the nice cupboard or the counter, you put your hand on the counter. So this is my imaginary counter here. All right, my imaginary counter, not yours. So I'm extending the legs and I'm doing this exercise maybe 5-10 seconds. Nothing too long. All right, my counter 1, 2, my nice 20-second countable timer going on, and I'm doing that exercise. So you can use it with your dumbbells or you can do it without. Now, for here, I have my cans or my dumbbells. And we're gonna just be doing 2 lateral steps across or side steps. So I have them right here. My knees are slightly bent. Please don't say that you have knee pains and you can't, or knee problems and you cannot bend. You don't have to go too deep because if you go too deep, you're actually not going to be getting the effect of the exercise. So just a nice squat, feet are facing forward, and you're just walking side. You're holding that. This is working your entire body. Everything is squeezing, your abdominals, your core muscles, and one thing that many persons don't know is your core is not just your abs. You have your transverse abs. You have your psoas major, your psoas minor. You have all these muscles. They form the core of you, and the core section is from your glutes, come all the way around. That's your core, all right? So you can be doing, as I said, let me demonstrate again. Lateral walks. 10-second timer on. You just move from side to side. I don't know how you guys do it. You might turn on the stove, come over here with your two dumbbells or your two cans, and you're doing those lateral walks, right? All right, so those are 2 exercises. Now, if it is that you are working out at night and you're on your bed, there are a few things that you can do. Now, you're busy, so you might go on the bed, say, okay, I need to get in my night exercise, I need to do some stretches, I just need to get some movements going. So here's something that you can do. So your feet are flat on the bed, palms are turned outwards, and you're just going up, raising that hip up, squeezing the tummy in, and you can hold this for about 10 seconds and lower back down. If that's too difficult, because some persons, they might have weak wrists, you can actually turn those palms inwards and go back up. They find that this is much easier than if you are doing it palms facing out. If you want to add a bit more difficulty to it, you can use your weights. So that's one thing that you can do while you're on your bed. Some of us can also do some nice planks. These are beneficial for everybody. So you're getting up on the bed. I don't know how you guys sleep. If you sleep on your side, or you sleep on your back, or you sleep on your belly. However, say you sleep on your belly and you move the pillow. Arms are flat on the bed. Legs are extended out. And you lower that down. And you hold that position. If that's too advanced, you can lock the legs right here. And hold this position 5-10 seconds. So you're getting this in, and you're getting the table top. Those 2 exercises, and you've done something. Now, if you do those, say 3 reps, that's better than doing nothing at all for the day. So that's my short, sweet, and spicy exercise that you can do either before you are going to work or in the night when you're in bed and you want to get something done. No. Listen, this is just if you're really busy. But if you are one of those persons who push and you're like a workout guru and you need to get more than that done, then by all means, do more. Ask some more. Speak to me about some more that you could actually get done and do it. So that's it, Anne-Marie.
Thank you, Sharika. I put your number in the chat. Can you tell us where we can find you? I know you're the personalized training as well.
Yes, location-wise, I'm only doing personalized. Now I'm only mobile, so I go to persons and I also do online sessions. So if you give them my number, I could share my website or You can find me at www.paradigm.
You can type your info in the chat in terms of your webpage. Are you in a position to do so? Yes, okay. Paradigmfitness.com. Okay. Thank you, Sharika.
Yes, I could send it to you and you could forward it to them.
I'll share it. Thank you so much.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
So no matter how busy you are, that was sweet, short, and spicy indeed. Simple exercises that we can practice before we, at least 3 hours before we go to our bed. Dr. Emil? I'm going to use this opportunity to take any questions from our audience. I don't see any questions in the chat. Any questions?
May I ask a question, please?
Yes, please proceed, Bishop Webster.
Like someone who spoke earlier on about listening to the presentation and did not see themselves being, their situation being addressed. I'm wondering, I got a little scared when Dr. Emil gave his answer, because I have lived for many, many years, and I'm not a sleeper. I get about 4 hours per night, and I skip a few nights here and there. I don't really, but I don't find myself being logy or lethargic or frustral, some people say, and all that. And so I'm just wondering, is it that we are wired completely different, or is that I should be worried that maybe at some point in life, the walls of Jericho may come tumbling down? I don't know. Or is it that there are some things that I say, for what can we do therefore, since we find that we're not sleeping? Is that we need to go see a counselor to pick up our pastor, see what trauma is there? I don't know. I'm very concerned about the answer Dr. Amy gave about this cumulative stress that may happen down the road. And so I love if he could come back on to say a little bit more on that issue, because I personally, I always boast how young I am at this old age, and yet still I'm hearing saying, oh, maybe I'm in trouble down the road. I don't know. So that's my question.
Dr. Emil?
I hear a question, Bishop, but in reality, there's not a one size that fits all. And your best answer now might be just an armchair view of your reality, because there are several other factors that might factor into that. However, the reality about it is that there are some persons who for all their lives, they are not the best sleepers in terms of 8 hours of sleep. They probably develop an habit. What research shows though is that Alzheimer's, dementia, and things like those, they happen because of poor sleeping habits. So those are things that you'll have to pay attention to, because we now know that less than the right amount of sleep over the years will result in something that you would not want as you age.
What is that something, Dr. Emil?
Alzheimer's, dementia, things like those.
And
there's a comment in the chat that says some people are nocturnal and some persons do better at nights.
And that is why I'm saying it's not a one size that fits all, but all human beings are wired to sleep at night. So some practice that we need to pay attention to is the whole thing of our eating habits in the afternoon and at night. We need to prepare our environment because, as I said earlier, remember your body is designed, there's a time clock in your body, and it is designed to shut down after a period of time. Melatonin is something that helps us to sleep. And what we find is that our skin produces melanin, which the body converts to melatonin, right? And for us with darker pigment, thicker skin, what we find is that you'd need like at least half an hour in the sun for that conversion to take place at vitamin. And a lot of us are vitamin D deficient as it relates to sun energy. And we are on no supplements, so we'll see, but over a period of time, it is affecting your body. It's affecting your brain. It is affecting how you will function later on in life. It might not affect you, but the reality is as we age, as we go along, this deprivation of sleep over a number of years might affect us.
But may I add to the discussion, please?
Please proceed, President Lorenzo.
Yes, and I think good night, everyone. I think the panel would have touched on this. You know, different folks, different strokes for different folks, and it's not a one size fits all, as Doctor said. One person may need only 4 hours sleep in terms of the quality sleep that that person will get from that 4 hours, while another person will put in 10 hours and yet still, you know, the quality is not there. So that person may need even more sleep or more time to sleep, you know. So it goes back to the quality sleep. It goes back to the food you eat, the exercise, the things that you do, you know, in order to get that quality sleep. So I think that's where the difference lies as well.
Thank you, President Lorenzo. Unfortunately, Sharika, one of our panelists, she had to leave, but we're winding up, and I'll now hand over to Secretary Claudette to do the vote of thanks, and then President Lorenzo will deal with the announcements, and we continue with the agenda as is on the screen. Is Secretary Claudette, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Over to you. Thank you.
My fellow Kiwanians and guests, a pleasant good evening. It gives me great pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this evening's Wellness Forum. Special thanks to the BishopLaw Foundation and Kiwanis Club for hosting this forum. I would like to extend a hearty vote of thanks to all presenters for sharing with us this evening on our mental health in regards to sleep, diet, and exercise. A big thank you to all who were able to join on this platform. I know that you are leaving with a wealth of knowledge on how we can better deal with our mental health through sleep, diet, and exercise. This will improve a healthy lifestyle. Finally, once again, I want to state that we are all grateful to all presenters on this platform. We thank you for being with us this evening. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Secretary Claudetta for that wonderful vote of thanks. And indeed, we thank everyone for joining. Are there any announcements at this time that anyone from different divisions or the different clubs would like to share? You may go right ahead, please.
Hello, good night. I'm a guest. Can I ask a question, please?
Sure, go ahead, sir.
Yes, a good night. It's a pleasure for me to be on this platform tonight. I'm only a guest. And my question is for the doctor. I tuned in late, which I'm sorry. I had a major brain surgery some years ago. And what my neurologist is saying to me, I have to keep hydrated. I didn't hear the doctor spoke anything about hydration, where it works good or better with the brain. Can the doctor highlight that or a feedback on that? I don't know if he did before I got on.
Well, we
Dr.
spoke
Emil?
extensively about diet and exercise and all of that. Water is an important part of all we do. And that is why your brain needs an amount of liquid in order to function efficiently. It is said that 70% of your brain or brain activity depends on water. So once you keep your system hydrated, then you are going to function much better. The thing about it is that in order for the repair to be effective, thoroughly and comprehensively, then you need to keep your water levels at a high level. So you can't slip and say, all right, today I'm going to take in 6 glasses of water. No, you need 8 and more. So that is what the doctor is saying to you. In order for you, for the brain to effectively repair itself or contribute to the repair, your water level must be up. You must maintain a proper rehydration structure or habit in order for you to get back to normal.
Okay,
So follow your doctor's advice. Very important.
Thank you. And I notice also get more sleep. I feel better. I do better. I memorize better. Everything better when I get more sleep. Thank you.
The more sleep you get, the better it is for you. The faster you recover, the better you recover. Your recovery process is going to be more thorough. Because the way the body and the brain is designed, one system a lot of time can compensate for others. And so we think that, yes, I'm not sleeping well enough and I'm still going good. No, it's because of how the body is designed. The body is an efficient machinery and it is designed with compensatory mechanism. So it's not that we are perfect, but because of the compensatory components of the body, then one compensates for the other. So pay attention to good sleeping pattern, good sleeping habits. Ensure that you pay attention to that. Ensure that you eat right, exercise. There's a direct correlation between all of these variables, right?
I thank you. I appreciate it.
May I ask a quick question of the doc? Can
Yeah,
they,
man.
I'm
not going anywhere. I'm here until 12 o'clock. So you
okay.
go ahead.
And I'll be right with you because I'm so nocturnal. Can day sleep make up for night sleep loss?
Sleep banking.
If I sleep 4 hours for the night, can day sleep make up for it? By sleep
You
in
know,
the,
you know what research found out that sleep is sleep, but temperature provides for better rest, better quality sleep. And you realize that night temperature is different because that is how your circadian rhythm was created. That was how it was structured. So the night sleep is always going to be better because your body is designed to sleep at night. But however, sleep is sleep, and you can still get good quality sleep in the day.
okay, thank you very much.
You're most good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc.
You're most welcome, sir.
There will be the Kiwanis Club of Ocherius will have a cocktail evening, and this will be on December 22. It says food, fun time, music, and dance. It's a award and induction function, and it will be at the Almond Tree Restaurant. The contribution is $3,000. So December 22nd at the Almond Tree Restaurant, it's Kiwanis Club of Ocherius cocktail evening. Also, the Kiwanis Club of Ocherius will have a walkathon on January 28, 2023. And the collection books are out. So we ask everyone to contribute towards this. The walk time will be at 9:30 a.m. And that's January 28th, and it's at 9:30 a.m. All right. Their target is $100,000. There will also be a Christmas fellowship on December 22nd at the Almond Tree Restaurant, which will be at 6 p.m. And this is in extension to the award and cocktail evening. All right. Are there any further announcements? If there are none, we will ask everyone to stand and let us toast to Kiwanis International. President Anne-Marie, do you have anything else to add before we close?
Just to say thank you to all the clubs within Jamaica that are present, and those within the Caribbean and by extension ECNC. We really appreciate you joining us tonight for this informative session. We look forward to other sessions in the coming year 2023, partnering with other divisions and other clubs as we seek to empower ourselves and each other so we can be better at service to our community and our respective countries and our children, because as Kiwanians, we're here to serve the children of the world. And we look forward to the continued partnership with the BishopLaw Foundation and through networks such as Bishop Webster and Dr. Emil and others. We apologize for the absence of Dr. Lily Tomlinson, but the work continues, and we really appreciate persons taking the time out to be with us this evening. We thank you so much. And please feel free to reach out to the nutritionist, Dr. Emil and Sharika. They're all experts in their respective field. Back to you, President Lorenzo.
Yes, indeed. Special thanks to all these individuals, and thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. This, I would say, was a success, and we look forward to having more successful meetings like these. All right. So let's raise our glass. And as we toast, you can join by opening your mic. A toast to Kiwanis International,
International.
friendly and peaceful Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Safe journey home. God bless you all. Good night,
God bless you
everyone.
all. Good night. The meeting
night.
of the Kiwanis Club of the Garden Parish and Brownstone is now adjourned. Thank you so much. You can stay on if you have any more questions. You can stay on for 5 minutes and speak with Dr. Emil. As he said, he's here until 12 o'clock.
It's good for a good, healthy sleep.
Okay.
If it is that you lost someone, you suffer loss, you're grieving, all of that, you need to see a psychologist. You need to get help to filter all of that pent up grief and all of that. If you have been traumatized or anything like that, you need to ensure that that trauma is dealt with. A socks is also a good thing to wear to bed. It helps your body to regulate the temperature. Now your body moves the temperature down from 98 because that is where your body temperature normally is. So it moves it down from 98 to 66 in order for you to fall asleep because your body needs a certain temperature to fall asleep. Now, around this area where your organs are, we call them the proximal skin, the core. Now, your body, in order for it to fall asleep, your body pushes the blood from your proximal skin to your hand and your feet. We call this the distal skin because that distance away. So we call it the distal skin and create a cooling system in order for you to fall asleep and to stay asleep. Your room temperature is also important. Ensure if you have fan, air condition, anything, you want your room temperature to be cool. You also want to ensure that you turn off the lights because light have a way of regulating certain systems within your body. So you want to turn the lights off so your body can recognize that it is night and start to shut.
You see charge alert?
So those are critical.
Dr. Emil, as you talk about turning off the lights, it is then not good to have your TV on whilst you're when you go to your bed trying to sleep.
Exactly. You shouldn't have your TV on. You shouldn't have your cell phone in your bed with your eye down. You shouldn't have any technological device on or in the bed with you, as we normally like to use these technological devices in bed and leave the TV on. These are things that because you could be asleep, but you're not resting. So these are things that, and they say that the blue light interfere with your REM capability. So get these lights out, right? Once TV is on, as somebody rightly said, the brain is some way, somehow still engaged. So these are things that we want to pay attention.
What is your take on music as a way, because some persons may say, but music help to put them to sleep?
But the type of music, what music is something good generally, but the type of music is also something that you want to understand. You want something calm that, give that sense of calm and peace that you can concentrate. It doesn't interfere with your brain function and or your brain is slowing in order to fall asleep.
And I see where Stephanie is agreeing that the brain is still engaged if the TV is on. So she's suggesting that we reduce the blue light, create an atmosphere in terms of the type of music that you choose to play when you're trying to get some rest.
Yeah. Because the faster type of music will keep the brain at a higher activity level than the slow music. because one is more soothing, one is more hyper.
Thank you, Dr. Emil. Any more questions for our doc? Bishop Webster?
Yes, madam.
Thank you so much for allowing us, as usual, to use your Zoom platform. We appreciate it. And I'd like to say thanks to my DRM family, Discipleship and Restoration Ministries. I know some members were on. And to persons who invited persons, thanks for coming. We're going to close out. Continue to have a productive week and be safe, and continue to give back to your respective Kiwanis clubs so they can be more impactful in the community, or just get involved in your community through your church and through other entities. If we do not meet again for the rest of this year, we look forward to other sessions in 2023. God bless, and we pray and hope that you have a productive and spiritually filled 2023. Happy New Year, everyone.